Hello everyone, how's it going? My name is Franco, welcome to Technostate. Yes, I know, you can't even see my face in this video and you won't be able to see it for the whole video. Sorry about that, or you're welcome about that, depending on how you want to see it. But well, as I said in another video before, I'm not able to record with the tripod right now and it's night. So I think the video will just look best if I don't even appear in it. I'll just show you the screen recording of OBS. But nothing, as you can probably see, this doesn't look quite like Windows, and that is because I've installed Linux on my computer with a dual boot. So I thought it would be interesting to talk a bit about it. Let's begin. So well, here we are. As I said before already, I installed the dual boot, so I still have Windows. The laptop, it's a Dell, so it came with Windows, so I thought it would be stupid to lose a free license of Windows. So I could have either used a VM or this, and since I really want to try out Linux and I want to use only Linux, at least for a time, so I can really get used to it and really learn how it works, I said, well, I'll dedicate half of my hard disk space for Linux, and I'll try to use only Linux, at least for the time being. So what I installed in this case is a distro called Pop! OS. It's based on Ubuntu. So most of the tutorials that I can find of Ubuntu are valid for this OS too. It's based on Ubuntu 18.4, if I don't remember wrong. I don't even remember where you can search that. Well, I really don't remember where I could fetch that. As you can see, I installed it yesterday and I still don't really know how to use it. I'm still learning. There's still a lot to learn. But well, first let's go over the applications and stuff that I installed. At least now for the beginning. Let's go here to all my applications, and these are all the ones I have. I have tried installing first. I tried installing one that was called Zorin OS, because I heard it was very good for gaming. I heard it came already with NVIDIA drivers installed, that it came with Steam installed, and that it came with Wine installed. For those of you who don't know, Wine is a program that you use in Linux to basically emulate Windows programs, which is very useful for programs that are not available on Linux natively. So I said, well, since I like playing games, Zorin OS is perfect for me. Besides, it looked really similar to Windows, so for a noob like me who is new in this area, it looked like a great option. The problem is that I installed it, and first it didn't came with Linux, it didn't came with Steam, I mean, and it didn't came with Wine. It did come with the NVIDIA driver, so at least I had that. But then I went to the I'll call it App Store because I don't know the software store, however you want to call it. I went to the App Store and I installed Steam, which was easy, but then I couldn't execute it. I would press on it and it would never open. Then I installed it from a repository on the internet and it didn't work either. It never executed. And I think it was a beta. It was Zorin OS 15. I could have tried Zorin OS 12. But since Linus had just done a video about Pop! OS, a distro that was also very good for gaming, since it also came with NVIDIA drivers and it was very easy to install Steam and other stuff on it, I said, well, fuck it, I'll install Pop! OS instead, and I'll install it now that where I'm still new at it, where I still don't have too many programs and where I still won't regret much the change. And so far I'm happy. I've used Zorin OS for like 2 days, and the 2 days were the whole day trying just to install stuff on it, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't install Steam. I couldn't install many of the programs I wanted to install. And then yesterday I installed Pop! OS, and in like half an hour I had already installed 5 apps, and in 2 hours I had already installed everything what I wanted to install. So well, let's finally begin with some stuff I installed. I installed Audacity. I don't know if I'll use it, but since this one, at least I think that Pop! OS doesn't come with a audio recorder, to have Audacity seemed like a good choice. Then I installed Chromium because I love Firefox and I want to use it as my main browser, but I think I have the feeling like like somehow uploads in Firefox don't work as well as in Chrome. I feel it when I'm uploading videos at places that have 100 megabits per second of speed, where videos upload really fast in Chrome. They upload like in 10 minutes a video of a couple hundred megs. And in Firefox it doesn't go like this, which I think is something that shouldn't happen. But well, I love Firefox, so I'm using both. I'll use Chromium only if I see that Firefox doesn't work for uploads as well. Then I installed GIMP. I don't think I'll use it as much now that I rediscovered Canva. But well, I installed Discord, obviously. I installed Davinci Resolve, although I just noticed that MP4 files don't work. They don't have audio on Linux, which is really crazy. I think it's something that should work on Linux. But well, that's a real issue because I have to, basically everything I have is an MP4, so I have to pass it to MOV. And when I do that, when I transform the file, it multiplies by 7 in the amount of storage that it requires then, no? So it's a real issue to solve. So just in case, I said, well, I'll install Kden Live also. I never used it, but it might be good, and I've heard this is always the editor I hear about when I'm thinking about Linux. Then I install CSGO just to be sure that games work here, and it does work. It works as well as it used to work on Windows when I just bought the computer, which is 130 FPS in 1920 by 1080 at high graphics settings, which is good. And after that I have to figure out how to have it in 4:3 stretched in Linux and stuff like that. Then Lutris, very useful to install games that are maybe not available on Steam. I think I'll use it a lot. Then OBS, of course, which I'm using right now. Then I install, what else did I install? Let's see. Steam, obviously. Visual Studio, I want to learn how to use C#, and I've installed Unity also to learn to do games. VLC, very useful to reproduce all those MP4 files that I can't reproduce with another thing. And then WinFF to change all my MP4 files to MOVs. So that's a basic overview of what I have. And now I'll talk a bit more about the operating system. So, as I already said before, it's based off of Linux, and it's called Pop! OS by System 76, I think it was called. I discovered it in a Linus Tech Tips video. Apparently, System 76 sells laptops and desktops, and they want to make Linux more how do you call it? More approachable for normies, like Linus said in his video. So they ship their computers with this version of Linux already. But obviously, as you can see, I have a Dell that originally came with Windows, and I was able to install this also. Really, really easy to do. Maybe I'll do a tutorial about it later on. So nothing, I'm glad with it. I wanted to have something that was based on Ubuntu, because then I could watch most of the tutorials on the internet, as far as I know, are of Ubuntu. And so it really helped in that aspect. But I didn't want to have something as basic as Ubuntu. I wanted something that looked a bit nicer, that maybe was a bit better for playing games and stuff like that. So this seemed like the perfect choice. And so far, I'm very happy with it. But I only used it for a day. And for example, the problem with MP4 files might be a real issue. But I'll solve that in one way or another. What else? Well, I'm a newbie. I'm a complete newbie to Linux. I wanted to start learning it just by curiosity more than anything. I wanted to see what it looked like, and I can tell you so far it's working much snappier than Windows. My computer is really not a bad computer. It should be working faster than it is with Linux, with Windows, I mean. I was really not happy with the performance of Windows. So I said, well, I'll try Linux. It might work snappier. I feel attracted by all that of the open source, although I don't really understand much of the things that I read of code. I want to start learning to code. And I'll probably study informatics. That's something that I'm pretty sure nowadays. But until that happens, I still don't know much about code. But eventually, to learn about code and to be able to program my own things in open source software seems like a very nice thing to do. And then I'm basically copying what Wendell said in his channel Level 1 Tech or Level 1 Linux, that at least what he said, that he has used Linux for a long time already. Using Linux it doesn't have such a big veil over how the system works as Windows or Mac OS does. So then when you're doing things, it might be more complicated to do in a lot of cases. Basic program installing is already more complicated than in Mac OS or in Windows, and there's a lot of things that are really much easier in Mac OS or Windows, and they have much more support for much more apps than Linux, so at least so far. But they have like a veil over everything they do, and if suddenly there's something that you don't understand how it works, there's no real way for you to know how that works. Since Linux is open source, of course here you can know how everything works. For many much things you have to use the terminal, for example, so you do go learning a little bit the basics about programming and stuff that I'm really curious about and that I really want to learn. Besides, as I said before, it's snappier, and at least so far CSGO is working better on Linux than on Windows, and the whole computer is working much quicker on Linux than on Windows. But well, I installed it yesterday, so it can change. But at least so far I'm very happy with it. I can't do a review or nothing because first, I'm not an expert in Linux, and second, I installed this yesterday. But that's it. I just wanted to share with you what I had done because I'm pretty happy with it so far. And that's it. Eventually I'll get a new adapter for the tripod and I'll be able to record my beautiful face again. But until then, you'll have to be happy with this. Well, at least better this than nothing. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video as always. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a comment down below if you have any questions or something that you want to tell me. Subscribe and hit the bell icon so you won't miss any future videos. And like the video if you liked it. I don't know if I said that before. I think that no. So that was it. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.